You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Are you ready to learn the 3 secrets to launching a successful podcast? Hi, I'm Bill, a recent client of the Podcast Mogul. If you've been thinking about starting a podcast but aren't sure where to begin, he's got you covered. He is hosting a free webinar where he will share the 3 secrets that can help you launch, grow, and monetize your podcast without any fancy equipment or technical headaches. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot now and let him help get your podcast off the ground.
Welcome to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Join the podcast mogul Phil Better as he interviews successful entrepreneurs that make their living in the digital world. Now, let's join your host, Phil Better, and his special guest today on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm, of course, your host with the most, Phil Better. And today I am very excited because we don't only have one exceptional guest, we got 2 amazingly exceptional guests here who are going to help us in the world of customer service. Our guests today are strategic customer support professionals with an extensive global experience and a robust network of specialists at their disposal. Their expertise spans the entire customer support journey, from helping businesses manage their very first customer to scaling operations effectively when customer demand soars. Their team are adept at leveraging cutting-edge automation tools and adhering to industry-standard customer support best practices. The strategic approach ensures that businesses not only meet but exceed their customers' expectation, driving, of course, loyalty and growth. Today, they'll be sharing their insights on building a world-class customer support team, the role of automation in enhancing customer experiences, and the best practices that you can take for your business to handle those customer inquiries effectively and efficiently. So whether you're just starting or you're a long-time company, please get ready to have your mind blown by my 2 amazing guests, the Hellens. Thank you so much for being. It was just easier instead of trying to say both last names. The Hellens are here. They're amazing. Of course, their company's called H2 Resolve, so that just makes it even better. Ladies, thank you so much for being here. I'm very excited to chat with you and see all the amazing things you have to tell us today.
Good to be here. What an introduction. I'm like, listening and going, oh, so that's how you could also say that. Yeah, okay, yeah, that is us. Never heard it described quite like that, but I think we can use that. Yeah.
You're very welcome. I love thinking of myself as a hype person for my guests because you guys are the rock stars, the rap stars, all the stars, if you will. I'm just this humble guy who just gets the opportunity to talk to you guys. So we're going to start with the first question, ladies. Why did you both decide to leave corporate world for the fun, exciting life of entrepreneurs? What made you guys start that?
Well, we worked together. But we left at different times and we didn't find each other immediately. We didn't leave together to start stuff out. We left at different times and went and did completely different thing from each other. And then decided that it's really hard to work with people who haven't been through the same sort of boot camp that we went to. Mm-hmm. Like the corporate we worked at, it started out as a small startup, and before we left, it was still pretty startup-y. I think it's more corporate now, but I would say I'm unhireable. I cannot work anywhere anymore because I have seen things, I've done things that make me feel like, oh, this is taking too long. I don't want to do the whole permission asking of getting something to actually done and fixed. And I will tell my CEO straight to her face if they're being idiots, and that either gets me fired or gets me a raise. But I am unhireable at this point.
Yeah. You said like, I've done things that's unimaginable things. I'm like, what have you done?
I'm curious to know what unimaginable.
It sounds so weird. It sounds like. Anyways, my reasons are very similar to Helen's reasons, but one of the things that I encountered was that either follow your dreams or someone else will make you follow their dreams. But if you're following someone else's dream or fulfilling other people's dreams, then you're not the main player. You are a pawn, and pawns can always be
They're interchangeable.
They're interchangeable. They're able to be used whenever they want, and if they happen to fall off the board, they fall off the board. And
but the game keeps going, and you're like, this is always that. If you're in someone else's company, you're always replaceable. Of course, in your own company, you're also replaceable, but you can make the choice. Not someone can make the choice for you.
You argue that if you join a company that's like 5 people in and like well invested, and you're like one of the key players, it's gonna be hard to replace you. They will try to keep on to you as much as they can.
I know that I'm also very difficult to replace. Like the last place I worked in, 4 years in, they're still searching.
They occasionally hire somebody, but then that doesn't work out.
Yes. So it's, I think this is one of the main reasons that I want to follow my own dreams. I don't want to be in anyone else's dream anymore.
Phil, is there a level of confidence you need to achieve that you go like, I can't be a pawn anymore?
Mm-hmm. It's very true that you have to have either extreme confidence in yourself to be able to be like, I can do this on my own, or you just have to be completely delusional that you can make it on your own. Those are the two things I see a lot from entrepreneurs. And just like yourself, Helen, they say they're unmanageable, they're unhireable, they're feral creatures, some people would say, because we have the weirdest way of thinking, because we're constantly looking to make the business better, even if it's not our own business. And then we have to deal with the red tape that corporate life has. And it's so much fun. But you guys decided to leave corporate startups and start your own company, but you're helping companies deal with their customer service, which there's not a lot of companies out there, be it small or big, that focus on the customer first aspect. They're usually like, okay, this is how you get more customers in, or this is how you increase profits. But you're like, no, we're going to look at the customers first, because those are the important people. What made you guys decide to focus on customers versus the internals of a business and help the business do all that, fluffy wins instead of, cementing loyalty from their customers?
There's no fluffy wins. It's all a hoax, It's like if it looks too good, it is too good. But I always say that without a customer, you don't have a business. And it doesn't matter, your customer can be also your business partner. So it's like, well, there are very, very like little companies that are only doing on their own. Like they're just solo doing. I don't even know what kind of company could it be, like that has only one person who doesn't affect anyone and doesn't have any clients, as in partners or whatever. So
who pays your bills? Who would you invoice? Yeah. You have customers.
You do have customers. So basically, without the customer, you don't have a business.
And I think there's a disconnect between like B2C and B2B. If you're B2B, you're like, oh, I'm looking for partnerships, and we have these important business meetings, and we take them to lunches, or we try to win this business over because we're a big business. They're still your customer. They're set up in a more organizational manner, but they're a customer that you need to talk to. If it's B2C, You're trying to get big numbers and people to buy more things or come and use your service, and you're trying to get more and more. And those people feel more replaceable because there's so many of them. If it's B2B, it's we got to get this customer. If it's B2C, somebody else will come along. It doesn't work like that because, you have, take marketing. Everybody focuses on marketing, word of mouth, and how to, get yourself seen by more customers and so more people to buy your product and so on. If they get a very bad experience, not only are they not going to come back, but they are going to tell others to avoid you.
Uh-huh.
So this is what you should be focusing on. And I got into it because I've been doing it for a long time. I did it from very small amount of customers for a company to a much larger one in like different industries like telecom or finance or insurance. And it's always the same. And the mistakes are always the same. If you're in the early stages, you don't think it's important. You don't think data is important. You don't think learning from what you're doing is that important. You just need to make the sales. And then a couple years in, there's so many mistakes I clean up. So now I'm trying to get there earlier to build it up in a way that I don't have to clean it up.
And there's also quantity over quality, because if you have one loyal customer who pays, like was always paying, is better than 10 customers who are like, oh, the product is so and so, but if something better comes on, I'm going to go there. So I think this is also an important part, that if you lose a customer, there's never a one customer that you lose, because that customer that you lose has also friends, family. They have like the whole social network that won't be your customers, probably, depending on the severity of the mistakes that you're doing.
Helen, I want to touch in on how you have to clean up the mistakes, or you're trying to get in as early as possible to avoid cleaning up those mistakes. If you could give a piece of advice to the listeners who have maybe started their journey, they're not up into the things where they have hundreds of thousands of clients, or customers, they have a few core audience, core customers. What are some things that they can put into place now that's going to save them those major headaches of asking Helen to come in and clean up the mess that they made?
Store your data, and the moment you have possible resources, analyze it and see what works and what doesn't work, especially what works. Because we tend to focus on mistakes as people. So we look at, what are the biggest complaints, what my customers want to be different, and then try to solve that for, maybe 5 customers out of 100. Whereas you have 80 customers who are saying that this thing in particular is really great if you could do more of that. So you could build on what works and make what works better instead of only fixing small mistakes. And then once you've been doing that, you will know your customers. And when it comes time to, you can't handle the interactions anymore, you start getting too many. You can automate it because you have the data. And if you need to hire people to help you do that, or you need to hire somebody to do your customer support, you again have the data that you can build all of that on and train people on. Because if you don't know what they want, you're going to focus on the bad things, which are not your main bread and butter. And or you're going to take somebody's advice that this is how it's done and this is how it's always been done. And how it's always been done has been taught the same way for decades, and that is go hire like a customer support person in India who's going to do that for you. Today you have better options available.
With everything you guys are doing, you're cleaning up messes that some entrepreneurs or business owners have put into place. You're automating sequences for people to keep them growing their businesses and making sure that the 80% of their customers are happy and not worrying about the 20% that may be frugal or changing here and there. How is it that you are taking care of your clients in this? Since I know you're helping other clients take care of their customers and that, but how are you bringing it back to yours? Because you're dealing with different industries. How are you able to maybe streamline the type of business, the clients that you have, since they're varied across many different domains?
Well, it's the same as we teach how to keep your customers happy. Our customers are same people. They work in a different industry, but their problem is always the same. The problem is that they want to do more than what the time they have available is. And that doesn't change whether you're in finance, telecom, you're doing e-commerce sales, you're training people, like even politics, maybe even mostly politics. You want to keep people happy and you don't have the time to do it all. So what we do is we make sure that you get more time instead of sitting in tens of meetings where we get our customer to explain to us what exactly they want and then we do it. We know what they want. They don't know. They know the problem they have and we take the problem and turn it into a solution and help implement it. We don't need them to direct us with what to do. They don't have the time for that. Otherwise, they would be doing it on their own. Why hire us? And I think you've said it well, that knowledge is free.
Yes.
Knowledge is free. Implementation is what we help with.
Mm-hmm.
And we give our knowledge away, no problem, because most of our customers, the ones that do need to hire us, they're smart people. They could do it on their own. We tell them how. But are they going to? No, because they would need to hire somebody to do that. So why not take us?
I like that. And when you sit in these meetings and you're giving away your knowledge for free, which is a very big change from how business used to be. Business used to keep everything into their chest. You have to hire us to get the knowledge. But with the change of the internet and the advancement of all, pretty much entrepreneurship becoming a boom since, I want to say 2020, it boomed a lot, given some event just happened in 2020. If you don't know, you don't know. But if you know why that boomed. Do you feel that when people get into the world of entrepreneurship, they lose sight of the customer because it's such an overwhelming, it's a lifestyle change when you're going from the corporate world or startup world or working for someone else and then you start doing the business for yourself. There's a lot of overwhelm, especially when you're like, oh, I have to take care of customers, or you get your first customer. Have you worked with people who have just decided to jump into the world of entrepreneurship, or do you guys like to focus on more established brands or businesses that have been around, maybe not for centuries, but have been around longer than the boom of entrepreneurship?
So we have partners that we work with if it gets really big, like if it comes to outsourcing and needing to, open up a call center in the Philippines, then we have trusted partners that we can then connect with, but we don't do that big on our own. We are happy to help smaller companies. The ones that find us usually are, they've already made their first mistakes. They've tried to hire somebody to do our job internally. And usually they go like, oh, it's customer support. It's not going to be that difficult. So they hire somebody kind of, university student, or they hire somebody who's massively overpaid. And that was me. I got hired a couple of times way too early. And I had something to do for a couple of months. And then I sat around for 6 months because the customer growth had to happen. But I think what you taught in Wise Times about customer always comes first, yes. We got drilled on that.
Yeah, I think that starting in a startup changed both of our roles, definitely, because Wise was built for the customer. And this is where, when you start with the business, the first things you have to do, for who are you doing this?
What problem are we solving?
Yes, what problem are you solving in the world? And how many others are doing this? Is there even a point? Or maybe you have your own niche how to do this. So I think that before, of course, you want to be an entrepreneur. So you sit down, you start thinking, now I want to be an entrepreneur. So yeah, this is the first thing that you have to establish is who, why, what. These are very simple questions. So there's no point of just going at it, because you won't get anywhere, at least in business. In business, you have to have a very, very clear goal, what are you doing? And if you're building something for the customer, but you don't have customer first in your mind, you're going to fail. There's Like,
And we've seen that.
yes, we've seen
A company who starts out because the goal is to not work corporate. That's the goal. The goal isn't to solve a problem. The goal is to not have a boss, but be our own boss. You become like thrown around by waves because you don't have a clear focus on what you're doing, what you're focusing on, who your customer is, and then you do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, seeing who pays you. My video production company, the podcast studio that we're using, I'm not active in that company anymore because it's not what I wanted to do. This was my foray into I want to be my own boss, doing whatever. But actually, this helping people scale, like building systems, that I get more joy from than just anything fun. And I know the customers for that. I know the problems I'm solving. I see the mistakes, and the mistakes usually are that they built something, it worked, people started buying it, and then they lost focus on the customer. They started focusing on how to make more profits, more money, and then they hire me because we don't know what to do. There's always questions. People keep asking us for help. We are overwhelmed. There's like, the product keeps breaking. There's too many customer questions. Please help us automate it. Like, we don't even have FAQ. Yes, because you lost your focus. You started to think that what your business is building headphones, whereas your business is helping people listen to podcasts and listen to music. Rant over.
No, it's a very important rant that you just gave, Helen, because if they lose that focus, they lose the business. And
Yes.
It's a big problem. Because everybody wants to have that freedom that we were somewhat promised in the world of entrepreneurship. Be your own boss, make your own hours, travel the world, if you will, have all that fun that you see, like the Jeff Bezos and the Elon Musks and all those semi-successful, they have small businesses that grew, nothing too big.
It's a lie that you're your own boss. You're not your own boss. Your customer becomes your boss.
It's true. And it's true. You have to focus in on your customers. Your customer are the ones that are paying you. They're the ones that make sure that you have a business to move forward. As you mentioned earlier, without customers, you have no business. You're just someone toiling away on the internet or making fidget spinners that may or may not be sold. I want to get into understanding how people can invest in understanding that even though they're free from an everyday boss, like the present CEO, when they still have the customers, how do you guys go about investing in yourself so that you are making sure that you stay customer focused and you don't lose sight of who the main goal is, the main why, the how, what you guys are doing? Like, how do you guys invest in yourself so you stay that focused?
you first. So first of all, to not lose the focus, I'm not the ultimate consumer, but what I do is I do consume a lot.
You're a customer to many people.
I'm a very good customer, and I like for example, new startups. What I do quite a bit is that I sign up. When there's free trials, I sign up to everything I see and I'm just gonna, I look at this and what are they doing right and wrong from the very beginning. And so I learn like this, and I see quite a bit of this new thing. That
You invest in yourself way more than like just knowledge.
Just knowledge, yeah, of course. Yeah. So how do I invest in myself? Jesus, I read books. When I don't read them on paper, I listen to them in Audible. This is very good. There are so many resources that you can draw on because the knowledge is for free today and you can get it from anywhere. So yeah, just read all those books and don't wear like pink glasses. Wear like the realistic filter classes when you're reading all those books, because there are definitely some things that are not
take
there.
what you need, but don't take everything.
Yes. So reading books, listening to podcasts, of course.
She's physically massively active. Like she almost didn't make it here today because of what, kickboxing or horse riding?
Both. We're both.
In time.
Yeah. So
Of course.
yeah, like what I do to make myself better is as well that I go to I do a lot of physically very active. So I'm a kickboxer and also a horse rider
And the mom,
and
like superwoman.
yeah, and yes, and this business is not my only one. I also write books and
For fun.
and I'm also an actor. So for fun. So the roster is quite large, but how to so you have to find, because I'm a people development expert. So if you want to invest yourself, then again there is very important question you have to ask from yourself is that what do I want? That's it.
And what she doesn't mention is like she has a strong line through everything she does. She's a people development expert. She develops herself. She develops her mental capabilities, her physical capabilities. She does all this learning on how these new apps work and when they come out and testing it. But it's all about people development. Like she always looks for ways to help herself or others develop as people, like me included. Like when she's doing stuff, I always get inspired and when she gives me tips. I'm the automation expert. Everything I do, I'm really lazy. Can I do it easier? Why am I doing this 3 hours of my day? There has to be a better way so I could do it for like 1 hour. So then we have more time to go horse riding or kickboxing.
Yes.
My Gmail account, personal one, has a bot answering instead of me. I've set it up to kind of be like me, and then it answers and it has some guidelines. If it's somebody spamming me, I will spam them back and try to get them to give me money. If it's a marketing email, then it unsubscribes me, but it also tries to get them to give me money. I have occasionally gotten money.
I think that just right there, that automation will make you billions of dollars if you're able to get companies to pay you money and scammers to pay you money. That's amazing.
There is one electricity company where I'm blacklisted because my bot kept messing with their customer support so much that they are like, we do not want you as a customer anymore.
That I can guarantee is a business on its own.
Parking fine people hate me because I will my bot keeps arguing about the parking fines. But sometimes I end up in trouble because of this, because like I am blacklisted somewhere because we're like, she's terrible. She keeps emailing all this nonsense to us. And I don't do that. It's my bot doing that. I don't have to deal with this nonsense. I also once accepted a wedding invite. My bot did. And then my really good friend who I actually introduced to her future husband goes back, did you use ChatGPT to RSVP to our wedding? And I'm like, yes. So, I do that. But, what we also have in common, I also write books because I go from first principles, and sometimes I'm terribly naive. So she writes fiction. I write self-help coaching exercises. We're both licensed coaches.
Yes.
But I became single in my early 30s, never having been single as an adult, never using, dating apps, anything, absolutely nothing. Such naivety of stories where I was like, oh my gosh, like this is how it, no. So I gave myself a lot of coaching exercises with like, what do I actually want in dating? And then I had some girlfriends that are, these are really useful. Can I, copy some of them for them and so on? Like business setup exercises of doing like SWOT analysis about my dating life and what I want in my future, what kind of life I want. And so I put them together for a book and then gave it to a bunch of friends. And now I'm I have a new editor. The last one did not work out, but I hope to have it out like in self-publishing in the next month or so. So like a colleague of ours, I had lunch with the ex-colleague of both of ours that I had lunch with recently said, oh, so you figured out dating from first principles as a 30-year-old. I'm like, I think so, because it was horrible before.
As someone who's been in the dating world on and off for the last 2 decades, I can confirm. Yeah. it's a fun place.
Yeah.
It's yeah, it can be scary and it can be very interesting. So I love how you've taken your business acumen and the business knowledge and used it to improve the dating world, and people are actually wanting more advice on using these first principles. I love that you're taking knowledge from another place and inserting it into a place that most people wouldn't think of. Because that's revolutionary. That's thinking outside the box, which entrepreneurs usually do. So it counts towards, or it showcases your entrepreneurial spirit. I kind of want,
Definition.
yeah, the correlation. I want to look to the future. Slamming my fingers, we're about 10 years in the future. What is H2 Resolves doing? What are the Hellens doing? Are they still in the same business? Are they jumping to bigger and better projects? Maybe not better projects, but different projects, expanding your horizons. What are the Hellens doing in this 10 years from now?
Same as before. Everything we do is meant to get to the point where we are no longer necessary. Like if I'm helping your business, I will do it to the point where you don't need me anymore, and I'll go move on to the next project. Same with our own business.
Yes.
We will grow it to the point where we can be owners or we can sell it, but when we don't need to personally hands-on hold and do it anymore. We'll either have it as a product, which is one option, but I also think that we will just have some of our partners and people that we currently hire part-time for a project, we could hire them full-time to take on these jobs and so on. Hopefully we won't be needed anymore, not just in our own business, but like the industry goes away, like the problem goes away. That would be the idea, that there's no bad customer support left. And the bots are taking a lot of it, and we're helping with that. We're helping bad customer support become unnecessary, especially with products that you build that you shouldn't need customer support. You shouldn't have such a broken product that you need people to constantly keep helping your customers through the issues. You shouldn't. And at that point, we get to do the next thing, be it writing more books, being a kickboxing Lara Croft type action. I really like gardening.
Yes.
Probably gonna end up growing a lot of potatoes,
and I'm gonna be lots of films. So that's what I'm planning to do. So
I don't think the dream should be that I want to grow this to the point where I'm working 14-hour days and I'm making billions of dollars. I don't want to do that. I want to live my life.
yes,
I like that. I like how you kind of have an exit strategy. This is where I want to get the business to, so that I can start doing the things that I enjoy as a human being, be it being a kickboxing world champion Lara Croft, or just gardening and making lots of potatoes, which as an Irishman, I do enjoy potatoes. So you'll have to send me some of your potatoes so I can test them out, or I'll have to visit you guys and have a nice meal of potatoes. I kind of want to jump to a bit more personal, and I want you guys to reflect on your journey so far as strategic customer support professionals. Were there some pivotal moments or challenges that changed or shaped the way you guys deliver and support customers?
yes. Oh God, were there one? No, there was like. So we started in the Wise when it was very, very startup. So we
were working in customer support in other companies before, but yeah.
So yeah, I had been working with customers for 10 years before, but then I joined Wise, and then we didn't know, like at the beginning, we didn't know if we would even have a job the next day. We didn't know, like startup life. So, but then like everything changed all the time, and I think that this is one of the biggest things that changed, was knowledge is for free. And this came with startups, because like before that I worked also in corporations where everything is like tight-lipped and everybody is like keeping their secrets and everything. But in startups it was like everybody has to share. Like you cannot keep the information anymore. And then like this was the first pivotal moment, I think, where I understood that knowledge has to be for free. It cannot be Like no one, you don't have to pay for it. And then the second one was when I learned to understand what is important in life and also in business. And I have my own equation that I use a lot. And this is impact equals time spent. So basically, like everything that you spend time on, it has to have an impact either in your life, in your business. Because if the time spent is larger than the impact, then why are you even doing this? It doesn't give any impact to you. And why is it so important? Why is it not money? Because money is a resource that you can always get back. You can always earn it. It doesn't like it's money. You know that like if you're in a really big trouble, you just sign up in OnlyFans or like FeedFind. Whatever the fuck that is. Sorry, but
It's true. If you need money, OnlyFans and the feed pics are guaranteed to make you money.
exactly. You know that there's like you can always make the money, but you cannot ever get back the time. Ever. You cannot change the past. You cannot change anything else but today and tomorrow. This is what you can influence. So time is the most important resource that you have and you have to work with.
So, dear listener, ask yourself, are you having impact or are you just busy?
You probably just killed a whole bunch of people with that. I don't mean they're dead lying on the ground, but their consciousness just broke because they're asking themselves if they're actually having an impact or are they just being busy. And with a lot of corporate world, it is busy work. You're sitting around, oh, you have to have this project done or you have to have this book done. And it's
You
like,
have to go to this meeting, and when you're done with the meeting, you're like, what happened right now? Where did this hour of my life go? Nothing happened.
yeah, no. Yeah, it's, I don't miss those endless meetings in the corporate world.
I think it's really important though. Lots of meetings.
Yeah, meetings are very, very important because you need to have those touch points and you have to have the meetings to recap the meetings. Then you have the meetings recapping the recaps of the meetings and just meetings on meetings. And no one needs meetings. It's all an email.
You look like you're like disgusted right now with your.
I've had meetings on meetings that were just, it felt more like a circle jerk for the management to feel like they were doing something. And it was a lot of free time that was wasted, and lunch hours that were wasted as well from these meetings. That's why I always do emails. I don't like meetings. Emails are safe, sound, and it gets to the point.
And reproducible.
Yes, they're and you have a bot that can pretty much handle all the replies. Sometimes you may get invited to a wedding or blacklisted from companies, but that's fine. Hopefully it doesn't affect your managers or your business. What has had the biggest impact on your journey as like customer support, like professionals? Like, has there been a moment that impacted your journey so much that you're like, oh my God, or that changed the way you guys were thinking about your whole career?
I have two moments. One was during UK's Brexit vote, which this kind of big votes, they have a big effect on currency markets. And I was working in finance and currencies at that time. And I was, for that week, the customer support on point, like leading the whole customer support team, like daily activities to make sure that everything is handled, kind of like a lot of graphs and making sure like nothing breaks. And we were expecting something's going to break. Many things broke because the vote went in a way it did. Currency markets reacted and it was chaos. But I remember being in a meeting a couple of days before that. It was like maybe 5-6 people in the meeting. And because I was the customer support on point, that was me, some product managers, some, hedging currency experts, and trying to figure out, can we handle this? Because do we have enough staff, vacations, all this kind of stuff? And then should we close this currency route? Should we pause it for a couple of days during the big vote? Because you have this I can't remember, some sort of some businessmen in the 80s, early 90s, UK really bet against the pound and caused a huge crisis and became very rich. So if you're not set up to protect against that, somebody's going to take major advantage with bets against you. So we were prepared, and we were like, we don't have enough staff. If customers panic, then we're gonna be in trouble. So we decided to pause. And I remember being in a meeting where we, tried to figure out what kind of message do we send the customers to say that. And then, working for 4 days straight with like sleeping in the office in the next days to like work through this all. But what I remember is because we chose to pause first out the door. And then UK banks started pausing the next day. And they were using some copy-paste message of our message. And I was like, I felt my ripples because I'm just some girl in a small room from like, we're just having a meeting. Do I have the staff? Do I have enough people to do something? And I said, I don't have the staff. It's public holiday over here where we have most of our staff. I don't have enough people to handle this customer load. We're going to break. So, it wasn't the only decision that made the call. There was lots of like numerical and whatever decisions to make a pause. But that was one of the things that I stood up and said. And then I saw that ripple to the point where like a major country, huge banks are like using copy-paste wording of what we came up with. And I met like my one sentence can have massive impact in the world. It can make things happen that I didn't imagine possible. I can't go back from that. I felt that once. I felt that like my like small thing. What I'm saying here on this podcast right now, I don't know who's going to listen to it. But if one person listens who feels something about the busy work, quits their job, starts a new entrepreneurship, starts doing something unbelievable that hasn't been done before and changes the world, I ripple to that. My one sentence here, ripple to change the world. And because I know this can happen, I can't put that back in the, bottle. This knowledge is, once you have it, it never goes away.
I love that. I love that, having that moment where you're like, oh, I actually impacted the world. Like you said, I'm a small person in this small company in a small room, and all of a sudden these major corporations that have been around for centuries are just copy pasting what I came out. And it's true. It changes the way you look at everything and your vision of yourself. We are coming to the end, which I hate because I'm having a great time with the H squared here. Both of you guys are amazing. You're Helen, you blew my mind with your statement, and I'm pretty sure you've destroyed some people's perspectives of their lives about changing who they are. And I'm just slightly worried that the other Helen's going to do kickboxing on me and kick my ass. So I'm going to try and keep this on time here. But I want to know, I have both of your 10-year-old selves here. They're amazing, very nice. They haven't kicked my ass yet, but one of them does have a gleam in their eye. So I would love to know if you could pass back one piece of advice from each of you to your 10-year-old self. What would you love to have been given when you were 10 years old?
You can do whatever you believe in. That's it. Your dreams, whatever, like when you can dream it, you can achieve it. And that's it. This is what we're coming from. Like we were both born during Soviet Union times, and
I saw some shit.
Yeah, we saw this. The things we saw. This was like you could not even imagine what we have seen. Like people have like
as children, though.
Yeah, as children, I've seen like stabbings. I've seen like people have shot at my windows. I grew up in a ghetto as well. So and it was as bad as like Bronx back then. It was literally that bad. People were shot in our street. Like this was normal. This was like good that I didn't get shot. So basically it was never the time when we, like, no one could actually tell us that if you can dream it, you can achieve it. But right now, for like, if somebody would have told me that, like, there comes a time when you have very big dreams and you will be able to go and achieve them.
I'll say, don't lose your spark of originality and don't care about what they think. Because I see this in kids. Like pretend, look at them dance. When you're seeing a kid's party, they don't care. They're having fun. They're moving in a way that's just them. And And when they start becoming teenagers, you can see they get much more awkward and they're like, oh, am I doing it right? Like people are looking at me like, am I cool? The small kids are so much more cool because they don't care what everybody else is looking at them and thinking. And nobody is actually thinking about you. They're too busy thinking about themselves and what you think of them. And it takes you like another couple of decades to get back to that point of that little kid of like, I can just do it. I don't have to constantly worry about what everyone's thinking about me. And, you dance like your soul is on fire instead of am I cool enough? So don't lose that spark.
I love it. Both great advice. Don't lose the spark. And if you dream it, you can achieve it. I love it. Those are both amazing advices from the amazing Hellens. Of course, who would have expected less? I'm going to jump off stage here, ladies. I want you guys to let my audience know if they're at a point that they need help with their customer service or making sure that their customers are taken care of properly so that they are growing and achieving the results that they want from their product or their businesses. So I'm going to jump off stage here. Please let my audience know where they can connect with you, how they can get some of the free information, free knowledge that you guys have in abundance to help them. So the floor is yours, ladies.
h2resolve.com is where you find everything. Helen, what do you find there?
So we have a blog there as well, where you can get all the free resources. And if you have a question about anything, you can always book a time with us. There's like a half an hour slots where you can book a meeting with either of us. And
first time's free.
Yeah, first time free as well. But you can always send us an email if you have like question about how to do this stuff. And if we find it that we don't actually need to have a meeting, we know it by heart. So we are firm believers that knowledge is for free. So we're going to share it for free. We're going to make an article of it so other people who have the same issue can also benefit from it. So this is give and take.
You'll get a how-to guide.
Yeah.
You need to implement it yourself, but you can always hire us to do the implementation for you as well if you don't have the time for it. But knowledge is what gets us new customers. So if you have good questions that we see would be useful for our readers and future podcast listeners, then we will take it on. And we do have a special offer for this podcast listeners. If you go to h2resolve.com/invest in yourself, then you can have not just a 30-minute meeting, but you can have a 1-hour meeting for your specific problem. You send us your problem in advance, and we take a look at it and give you a short solution. If you have the time yourself, you can easily follow the step-by-step guide and do it. If you don't have the time, that's what we are here for. And that's a limited time offer. That's 5 people only. So h2resolve.com/invest in yourself.
That, first of all, thank you so much for giving my audience that amazing opportunity to have an hour-long session with the Hellens and get the step-by-step play to solve their problem, and not only have access to you ladies to implement it if they need. I can't thank you enough for offering that to the audience.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
It's limited, so be
the early bird gets the worm, as they say. And ladies, I want to thank you so much for being here. It was a pleasure chatting with you guys. I'm still trying to get my mind wrapped around all the amazing advice you had. So I'm really looking forward to re-listening to this episode from the outside, from the host's perspective, as more of a listener, and the advice you gave is phenomenal. So I thank you so much for being here, ladies.
Thank you for having us. And we had so much fun.
That's funny.
I'm glad. To my audience, make sure you check out the show notes down below. You jump on that free offer that the ladies here have offered from h2resolve.com/invest in yourself to get that free hour session to get your problem solved and implemented if you need that help as well. But remember, only 5 people can get it, so it's going to be close, so you better get it on right away. And as always, please remember to invest in yourself.
Thanks for tuning in. Now it's time to take the next step. When you're ready to dive deeper into how to launch, grow, and monetize your podcast, Phil's got something special for you. Join him for a free webinar where he'll reveal the 3 secrets that have helped countless entrepreneurs succeed in podcasting. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot, and let's turn your podcasting dreams into reality.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.